I've learned more about life than I ever thought possible. But there's one decision that still weighs on me: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it seemed like the safest choice. My family assured me it was for the best. "You'll have round-the-clock care," they said. "No more worries." But what they didn't tell me: the moment I walked through those doors, I wasn't just changing my address. I was surrendering my life as I knew it. If you or someone you love is considering this step, please, before you make that choice, let me share 6 painful truths I wish someone had told me. Because once you're in, getting out isn't just difficult, it's nearly impossible. And by the time you realize it, like I did, it might be too late to turn back. Regrets are one. The slow erosion of independence. The first thing they take isn't your belongings, it's your freedom. At home, I decided when to wake up, what to eat, whether to sit in the sun with a book or putter around the garden. But inside those walls, my life ran on someone else's schedule. Breakfast at 7:30 a.m., even if I wasn't hungry. Lights out at 9 p.m., whether I was tired or not. I remember staring at the clock one morning, realizing I couldn't even make myself a cup of tea without pressing a button and waiting for permission. And here's the cruelest part: the less you do for yourself, the more you forget how. My muscles weakened, my confidence faded. Soon, asking for help to shower or use the bathroom felt normal. And that's when I knew I'd crossed a line. Independence doesn't vanish overnight. It's stolen piece by piece, disguised as care. Regret number 2: the heartbreak of being forgotten. They promised they'd visit, and at first, they did. My daughter brought photos of the grandkids. My old neighbor dropped by with my favorite cookies. But as the months passed, the visits grew shorter. The calls became rushed. "We're just so busy, Mom," they'd say, and I'd smile and tell them it was fine. While inside, I was counting the days since someone last said my name, without looking at a clipboard first. You don't realize how invisible you've become until you're sitting in a hallway, watching the door, praying, today might be the day someone remembers you. And when they do visit, they see the polished floors, the cheerful staff, the activities calendar, but they don't see the silent hours in between. The truth? Out of sight really does become out of mind, no matter how much they love you. Regret number 3: losing your reason to wake up. At home, I had purpose: watering my plants, folding laundry, even the mundane tasks gave my days meaning. But in that facility, everything was done for me. No cooking, no cleaning, no chores, just empty hours to fill. I watched a once vibrant man, a retired teacher, sit slumped in his wheelchair, staring at a puzzle he'd stopped bothering to finish. "What's the point?" he muttered. And God help me, I understood. When you're stripped of responsibility, you're stripped of identity. You stop being a gardener, a cook, a storyteller, and become just another resident in a sea of identical rooms. And that, more than any physical ailment, is what ages you faster than time ever could. Now let me pause here. If this is resonating with you, if you're nodding along thinking, this could be me someday, stop, take a breath. Because what comes next? That's when the real regrets set in. I'll never forget the day I realized my body was betraying me. Just 6 months after moving in, I reached for a teacup, and my hand shook. Not the usual little tremor, but a violent rattle, like my muscles had forgotten how to hold anything steady. That's when it hit me. The nursing home wasn't just taking my freedom, it was stealing my strength, one helpful service at a time. Regret number 4. Your body gives up faster than your mind. At home, I climbed stairs, carried groceries, kneaded bread dough every Sunday. But inside that facility, they discouraged effort. "Let us wheel you," they'd say. "Don't risk a fall." Slowly, Without noticing, I stopped resisting. And then, like a car left too long in the garage, my body rusted, my legs withered, my balance faltered. By year 2, I needed help just to stand up from a chair. I watched it happen to others too. A woman named Ethel used to walk laps around the courtyard, 10 every morning, rain or shine. Then one winter, staff convinced her it was too icy. She started using a walker, just temporarily. Last I saw her, she was slumped in a wheelchair, her slippers barely skimming the floor as someone else pushed her past the windows she used to open herself. Here's the hard truth. Nursing homes are designed for safety, not strength. And when you trade movement for convenience, you're signing a contract with decline, one you can't cancel later. Regret number 5. Privacy becomes a luxury you can't afford. You'll miss closed doors more than you think. At home, I could cry, sing off-key, or sit in silence without an audience. But there, privacy vanishes. Aides burst in without knocking. Your roommate, a stranger you didn't choose, hears every cough, every phone call, every midnight whimper. I once hid in a bathroom stall just to have 5 minutes where nobody watched me. And the humiliation. God. There's nothing quite like being 80 years old and needing permission to change your own underwear. One morning, a nurse scolded me for trying to dress myself. "We have to assist you," she said, as if my stubbornness was a burden. That's when I realized, in their eyes, I wasn't a person anymore. I was a task on a checklist. Worst of all, you start believing it. You stop protesting when they discuss your bowel movements at the nurse's station. You let them call you sweetie instead of your name. You shrink into the role they've assigned you. Helpless, needy, old. Regret number 6. The door locks behind you, even when it's open. This is the regret that keeps me awake. I thought I could leave. Try it for a few months, my son said. But by then, my house had been rented out to cover costs. My furniture was in storage. My medications were locked in the facility's pharmacy. And when I timidly asked about going back, the doctor frowned. At your age, unsupervised living is a risk, he said, as if risk wasn't the very thing that made me feel alive. I met a man, Carl, who sold his home to pay for temporary rehab after a fall. 2 years later, he was still there, staring at the keys to a house he no longer owned. "They chipped away at me," he whispered. "Now I've got nowhere to go." That's the dirty secret nobody mentions. Nursing homes are easy to enter and nearly impossible to escape. But here's what I want you to hear, what I wish someone had shouted at me before I signed those papers. End of part 2. Final part will reveal alternatives, empowerment strategies, and urgent questions to ask before considering a facility. Key differences from original. Deeper emotional hooks, vignettes, Ethel's walking, Carl's keys, make regrets visceral. Stronger transitions, each regret builds on the last, body to privacy to entrapment. Urgent tone, phrases like nearly impossible to escape mirror the hook, creating continuity. Avoids repetition. Fresh metaphors, rusted car, task on a checklist. Keep it original. So where does that leave us? If nursing homes steal your independence, your dignity, even your strength, what's the alternative? I'll tell you what I know now, what I wish I'd known before I let them wheel me through those doors. The truth they don't want you to hear. First, you have more options than they'll ever admit. Home care aides, meal delivery, even smart home gadgets that call for help if you fall. Could I have stayed in my own house longer? Absolutely, but nobody told me. Because the system isn't built to keep you independent. It's built to fill beds. Second, your family means well, but they're scared. When my kids said, "It's for your safety," what they really meant was, we're terrified of getting that 3 a.m. call. So have the hard conversation now. Say, if I forget to turn off the stove, get me a timer. If I'm lonely, hire a college student to eat dinner with me. But unless I'm truly unsafe, let me live where I belong, at home. If you must consider a facility, ask this. 1. Can I trial it for a week before signing anything? If they say no, run. 2. What's your staff-to-resident ratio at 2 a.m.? The real test. 3. Show me your violation reports. Every place has them. If they hide them, worry. 4. Can I keep my own medications? If not, they see you as a liability, not a person. And most importantly, never sell your house up front. Rent it. Because once that safety net's gone, you're at their mercy. A message to my younger self, and to you. Old age isn't the enemy. Surrender is. That first time you let someone else schedule your baths, that's the day you start disappearing. So, fight for your creaky knees, your cluttered kitchen, even your overdue bills, because they're proof you're still in the game. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. You are not a problem to be managed. You're a life to be lived, on your terms, for as long as possible. Now I want to hear from you. Have you or a loved one faced this decision? What wisdom did you learn? Share in the comments. Your story might save someone else from my regrets. And if this resonated with you, hit like and subscribe. Together, let's rewrite what aging looks like, one defiant, independent year at a time. Because the end of your story, it's still yours to write.